All right, today we're diving into ARK Invest's Big Ideas 2026 report. Now, these guys are known for making some seriously bold predictions, and their latest thinking suggests our future isn't just coming, it's coming at us, fast. We're talking about a fundamental change in the very pace of change itself.
And you can kind of feel it happening everywhere, can't you? I mean, from AI and robotics to how we store energy and even understand our own biology, we are living through a truly unprecedented technological shift, and it's one that's starting to weave itself into every part of our economy and our daily lives.
The entire core idea of the report is really captured in this one powerful phrase. We are not just in an era of change, we're in an era of accelerating change. So, don't picture a nice, steady, straight line of progress. Instead, think of a curve that's just getting steeper and steeper every single day.
Okay, so if everything's speeding up, you have to ask, what's hitting the accelerator? Well, the report argues there's one primary engine, a central dynamo as they call it, and that engine is artificial intelligence. It's the catalyst that's igniting everything else.
But here's the thing, AI isn't doing this alone. Not at all. The report argues this acceleration is really being driven by 5 foundational technology platforms. And what's wild is that each one of them is basically doubling in power and dropping in costs year after year. So let's break them down.
And this is probably the most crucial idea to grasp: convergence. These technologies aren't just staying in their own little boxes. No way. They're starting to intermesh, to overlap, and to actually feed into one another. It's creating a chain reaction that's just way more powerful than any single one of them could be on its own.
So what are these 5 platforms? Well, first, you've got artificial intelligence, the main engine we just talked about. Second is public blockchains, which are redesigning the world of finance from the ground up. Third is energy storage, the absolute key to autonomous vehicles and a totally new power grid. Fourth, robotics, automating the physical world. And finally, multiomics. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but just think of it as a super deep, data-driven way of understanding biology, opening a whole new frontier in medicine. Honestly, any one of these is a revolution by itself.
The really critical point isn't just what these platforms are, but how they combine in ways you'd never expect. And seeing them collide, well, that's where this story gets truly fascinating. Let's look at a really powerful example.
It sounds like a riddle, right? I mean, on the surface, you've got robotics in the form of these massive reusable rockets, and then you've got the purely digital world of AI. They seem like they're in completely separate universes. But it turns out they are becoming deeply and pretty surprisingly connected.
So here's the connection. AI is just insatiably hungry for computing power. And here on Earth, that means we're starting to hit physical limits with things like energy and cooling. So the report proposes this wild idea. What if we put massive data centers into orbit, and all of a sudden, reusable rockets, a robotics platform, become the key to unlocking the next level of artificial intelligence?
And the scale of this convergence is just staggering. According to ARK's research, the growth in AI training could increase the demand for mass-launched into orbit by 60 times. Let that sink in. A 60-fold increase. That's not just a small step forward, it's a seismic shift, and it's all being driven by 2 completely different technology platforms colliding.
This convergence isn't just a tech story, though. It has massive economic consequences. I mean, if these platforms are rewriting the rules of what's even possible, what on earth does that do to our economic forecasts and even our understanding of growth itself?
Here's another incredible example of that economic impact. Right now, most of the labor that happens in a home, cooking, cleaning, it isn't even counted in the GDP. Just look at the huge gap on this chart. The paid work is just a tiny fraction of the total estimated value. Okay, so now what happens when you introduce a humanoid robot into that equation?
Well, suddenly, all that uncounted labor becomes a purchased service or a piece of equipment that gets counted. The report calculates that a humanoid robot in every single U.S. owner-occupied home could bring nearly $6 trillion of that activity into the formal GDP. That's a 20% increase to the entire U.S. economy from just a single application of robotics and AI. It's wild.
So, what does this all add up to? Here's where the forecast just completely diverges from the mainstream. While consensus forecasts, from groups like the IMF, see global growth chugging along at about 3% per year, ARK's model projects a future that's more than twice as fast, with growth over 7% annually all the way through 2030.
And this isn't just about the overall economic pie getting bigger. It's about who owns the new, bigger slices. The report projects that these innovation-focused companies could grow from about 20% of the global market today to over 60% by 2030. That is a fundamental reordering of where value gets created and captured in the global economy.
So we'll end on this thought. A great acceleration implies that some things, some industries, and some skills will inevitably be left behind. This framework paints an incredible picture of growth and opportunity, for sure, but it also forces us to ask a really profound question about the disruptive side of all this change. If this is the future taking shape, what parts of our present are going to get displaced?